Hello guys, this is Mike from Deathless Gaming, and tonight we will be reviewing Warthunder Tanks! Alright guys, so a few weeks ago we reviewed Warthunder, but I only did the plane side because this game is basically split between the game and the plane and the tank side right now. Now the devs and developers of the game have said they will eventually merge them together, and currently that's really only working in custom battles. So I've devoted this entire review to the tank aspect of Warthunder. Alright, so just like the plane side, the tank side has realistic and arcade battles, which is pretty nice. They also have the same custom battles in multiplayer. Now, custom battles are a little vague with Warthunder. You can have it so that you can mesh both tanks and planes together, and sometimes it's custom, so it's a little hairy. However, one thing to note is the tank side of Warthunder does not have simulator battles. So I don't know if that's under development or they don't want to do it, but realistic is pretty realistic. I don't know if they can improve the realism to the point where they have, how do we say, simulator feeling. I mean, it already feels like a tank simulator, so I don't know how much more realistic they get. Maybe they could limit fuel or something, but it could, I guess, use some more realism. But the tank side of Warthunder is currently still under development, sort of in a beta. So a lot of things need to be fixed, but overall, it's a pretty good tank simulator. So let's get into what I like. This side of Warthunder still has really good graphics and performance. Amazing detail. Some of the environment is destructible, some of it isn't. There's a recent developers post saying that they were focusing on other things, but now that the other issues have been fixed, they're going to be focusing on making the buildings destructible and have a totally destructible environment, which is going to be hopefully not performance heavy, but would be awesome if they got it through. But the trees fall over if you shoot them. Little tiny things will crack if you run over them. So a nice thing is the tank also leaves an indentation in the mud and stuff. So pretty realistic, but not as much as it could be. So you can use a lot of buildings to shield incoming projectiles that normally would go straight through that building and into the tank. So a little bit annoying, but they're going to fix it. I like the realistic battles. It's extremely realistic. You can call in artillery strikes. You can fire at certain parts of the tank, and the armor will deflect the ballistic bullet. And that's pretty realistic. That's one of the things they wanted to implement, was so that the bullet's trajectory, so the angle the artillery shell is coming in from the tank, and also what type of round it is, HE, AP, whether or not it'll pierce it. So you can get into a lot of situations where you're viewing the wrong side of the enemy tank and you can't penetrate them, and that's really annoying. But it's also super realistic of what would happen in real life. But if you find a good chink in the armor and you get close enough, one shot will just blow up the entire tank, which adds a huge amount of realism to the game. And I don't really see that many other tank simulators bringing it to this next level. Now, I understand some people may feel this is a copy off of World of Tanks, but it does not feel like. I've played World of Tanks before, and aside from some things, this pretty much beats it in a lot of the aspects. It also has, in both realistic arcade battles, it's a little bit more cheesy, but it does allow you to fly airplanes in arcade battles. Not to the point where you can have your own custom plane and stuff. It'll just let you do bombing runs kind of like a kill streak in Call of Duty or something like that. But it is starting to incorporate planes, which is nice. So good realism in both arcade and realistic battles. Another thing I liked is the historical accuracy. I mean, I can't imagine how much, but the developers of this game must have stayed up all night looking at the different types of tanks, where different knobs on the tank were. Incredible detail has been put into this game, and it's truly amazing. I mean, if you're a historical World War II buff, you will go nuts over this side of the game. You thought the historical accuracy of the planes was good? Check out the tanks. Alright, so let's go over graphics. I mean, performance. We've gone over what's good about it, but what about what I don't like? So, it's got a lack of metagame. I'm just going to be honest. It's the same game mode pretty much, which is capture. I mean, there's no really tank deathmatch or anything like that. It's just pretty much the same game mode, which is hold certain points. Now, they'll try to spin it and say, oh, well, now there's 2 points, so that's domination. But this is only 1 capture point, so that's conquest. It doesn't really give you a good experience, and it can get repetitive fast. The maps do try to offer a lot of variety, but there's still a lack of maps, I feel, and can get boring really fast. I feel like one of the ways they could fix this is add planes, give different... I feel like if they put the tanks on the plane maps, it would not be this boring. It would take you like probably an hour to get from one side of the plane map to the tank map, so that would be awesome, but that would be a little bit of a performance issue, I'm guessing. But once they integrate tanks and planes, I think this problem will go away. But for now, it's a really boring and a lack of variety. Balance problems. So some tanks, as you can guess, are more equipped than others. So basically, you're gonna run into like, is it level 1 guy in a tank, even though they do try to have tier balancing, like with planes, so you can't get into certain battles, you can only battle with your other tiers. You still get a lot of problems, and this is due to the realistic side of these tanks. Some of these tanks were so good, they would just dominate the American tanks, because I'm going to just be flat out honest, American tanks suck, because Americans weren't good at building them, while the Russians and Germans, they just crush it, so you got to be really careful. And it's kind of annoying, but I feel the balance is extreme. It hurts newer players a lot, but once you start getting into the upper tiers, you don't really get hurt by this a lot. And finally, the maps. Just a quick of what I went over before. It doesn't have variety. I feel like they don't even have a good forest map. There are way too many hills. I mean, they don't really make it good variety. I'll say the town maps are incredible, but the wilderness maps I think could use some improvement. That's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you please tell me if I've missed anything into this review, and I'll post it in the description of the YouTube video. I think I'm going to give this side of War Thunder a 7, maybe even a 6 out of 10 Brownie points. It's in beta mode, I feel like, and it does need some improvements, but I think it's got a lot of potentials, and I think I recommend getting into it. So, this is Mike from Deathless Gaming, signing off.